For this Sunday conversation, I want to talk to you about becoming a luthier. That's probably one of the most common questions I get from folks on how do I become a luthier? How do I build guitars? I would say it's a slow process to get started and it's very expensive. And if you do make it, it's not a whole ton of income at times. I've been building guitars for almost 20 years now. I started in my parents' basement, moved to the apartment when we first got married, and now finally, after almost 20 years, I've got a significant shop with a ton of tools. It's taken me about 20 years to really make it. I know some guys have made it a little bit quicker where they've spent more time and energy, but I've got a full-time job and I've done this as a hobby. I know a lot of you guys are surprised, like, this isn't your full-time job. Like, no, it's not. I do these video series as a way to be a little bit more creative than my day-to-day job, and it's an outlet to build guitars. And also, I love music. I love guitar music. I grew up in that age of hard rock and roll and blues and love listening to music and blues music specifically. And for me, building guitars is about being in touch with the music industry and to be part of something more meaningful to me. Music has a ton of meaning. So for me, being a luthier is about music, creating music, being around music. Luthier work is a lot of work for a little bit of money. If you want to do this full time, you've got to get a really low cost of living. Nashville's a great town to do this in, but a lot of musicians also are struggling the same way that you are. They're not making a lot of money. They're looking for free stuff as well. So for you to get into, you got to be prepared to have a ton of work for a little bit of money. You can go to school, to a couple luthier schools, but those luthier schools aren't going to guarantee you a full-time job doing this. And if you do get a job, I'm not sure you want to be the guitar repair guy at Guitar Center or in a small shop. I say the guys that I met at Gruen Guitars in Nashville had pretty good jobs, had pretty good living, but George Gruen is sort of the center of the universe for vintage guitars, and any work that's needed on really high-end vintage guitars, it comes into his shop. It's what he's known for, and so those guys have a pretty good living. I'm not so sure how many of those shops can survive out there like that. Being a luthier takes a while to get going. It's not something you could walk into one day. You need to build up a shop. You need to build up experience. You're going to make a significant amount of mistakes. You're going to ruin guitars. You're going to ruin pieces of wood. You're going to have to throw stuff out, which kills you at times, and it can be very frustrating. But it's not something that you just wake up and do and you can be good at it. It does take some time and practice, and that time and practice requires you to either become an apprentice somewhere, go to school, or buy the tools and build up your shop sort of like I did. You can be a weekend warrior in some ways like me and come into the basement on the weekend or when you get an hour and do some work. That's how I push out a lot of my stuff. You can rent shop time with guys. My brother is a woodworking furniture builder down in the city. He pays about $600 a month to run a shop. He has access to a full plethora of tools, and he's got a dedicated workbench. That's a lot of money. It's significantly expensive, and I keep telling him, man, at $600 a month, I could be buying a lot of tools. But he doesn't have the space for that at home, so you got to weigh those factors. The easiest way to get into this is for you to start modding guitars. Buy a guitar, go to a pawn shop, restore that guitar, put something new and different on it, and just build that up over time. You're going to run into guys selling kits, which I think is one of the killer things of this business. It's a great way for guys to get in this, build a kit guitar, but China is dumping a ton of kits at a really low price point. So for you to make a custom body by yourself, or you can just buy the kit, you see a lot of people have migrated into kits and they're not doing full from scratch builds. For me, I wanted to do full from scratch builds. I wanted to build a product, hence the Jack Daniels guitar. I've got something significantly unique that's different in the market. So I've got a little bit of a niche product. I've also got Veritone switches and a couple other things I sell on the side. But for the most part, I want to build guitars. So like I said, you can do repairs or you can build guitars. But I don't know a lot of guys that do both. I know guys that build guitars and that's their thing. And then I know guys that do repairs. One of my buddies that owned a repair shop, lesson shop, got sick of it. He was sick of dealing with lessons and repairs and setups. He wasn't building guitars. He wasn't making music. He eventually got out of the business, so he got frustrated. I know builders that build awesome guitars, top of the line, the best thing I've ever seen. They've done it for a couple years and got sick of it. Even for me, sometimes I burn out of doing this. So becoming a luthier isn't that easy. It does take a significant amount of time, training, and tools. And then you'll read the stories of the guitar is dead and why should you go into this. For me, it was always a hobby that's now hopefully becoming a full-time job here in the near future. But for the most part, you got to think about it as stages. Acquire some tools, acquire some experience, start building things, start repairing things, and you can try and trade them online in the online forums or on eBay. But it is a process. It takes some time. And if you want to get into guitar building, there's a ton of different resources out there. I got all my video series for you. But just be careful about what you're getting into. Understand the risks, understand the costs, and maybe one day you can be a luthier. Read the comments below. I've got some great commenters, some really loyal viewers that will really put some thought into their comments. So comment below, let me know what you think. And as always, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.